Yo, what is up, my brothers? My besto friendzo. I hope you guys are doing good today. This is Enemy Stan User, and today we are looking at, in my opinion, the best fight and best battle in Jujutsu Kaisen, the versus Mahito segment in the Shibuya incident arc. And let me tell you, compared to all the other fights in the series, while they are awesome and insane, these battles in particular, especially the latter part in the versus Mahito battle, I feel have the most fleshed out and complete outcome in the fight, as well as all the passion and tension involved when it comes to what Mahito represents and brings, and everyone involved in this clash. It just hits right. And I remember when reading this weekly in this versus Mahito battle, it was so high intensity and peak fiction. It was almost unbelievable the tone Gigi could set leading us off into future parts in the series. But with that being said, of course there will be spoilers here discussing manga content here, but let's dive into an analysis for our three sorcerers, Nobera, Todo, and Yuji Itadori, up against the special grade cursed spirit Mahito. To start off this breakdown, we'll consider all the people involved and where they are at in terms of power and mindset as combatants, and then see each part of the battle and conclude why I feel, out of all the crazy fights in the series, this battle is my personal favorite and the best fight overall. First up is kind of the lower point in the fight before going too heavy into the nitty gritty, and we'll start off with Nobera's altercation with Mahito's clone body, and this is where we kind of get to see Nobera's mindset and her determination as a sorcerer, seeing as she kind of feels that she's falling behind while everyone else is fighting and giving it their all, and wants to prove her worth as a Jujutsu sorcerer in this really crazy Shibuya incident. And at the time initially meeting Mahito's clone body, Nobera was under the assumption Mahito could use transfiguration against her, so her guard was up. But what I found impressive about her was, even knowing about Mahito's ability, she still decided to engage him and start her attack, actually heightening her own cursed energy to remember that feeling of Black Flash and to feel the core of cursed energy during her battle. She really managed to capture the clone off guard using hairpin and resonance, proving herself to be a real threat to Mahito's soul, as well as letting Yuji on his side give Mahito a serious beatdown. And if this clash continued, the double would eventually be defeated or forced into a bad spot. And Nobera now knew about Mahito's clone trick, so the double actually ran, leading us to a darker part of the battle. Before we look into that though, let's look at Yuji and how he was coming into this battle, and this was without a doubt Yuji's lowest point in the series. He is just coming back from losing to Chozo right after awakening newfound strength and determination, I should add, and letting Sukuna go on a rampage and mass murder innocent people, as well as seeing his friend and sensei Nanami killed right in front of him by Mahito in the most brutal, horrible way, just right in front of him, making Yuji bloodlusted against Mahito. And Yuji right now was very rash when engaging Mahito. However, he actually still had the ability and the combat prowess to actually kill Mahito if Mahito's own onslaught didn't let up. And Yuji is able to damage his soul because of Sukuna's and his awareness of the soul. But Yuji's raw urge just to utterly kill Mahito was so strong, and he really hated his guts and could not accept or just understand why. Why is Mahito this way? How can he just play with so many people's lives and tear at Yuji's heart? And Yuji at this point may still be weaker than Mahito, but he still had the complete ability to fight him and keep up with all of Mahito's crazy attacks and strikes using transfiguration. But Mahito's actions and his usage of the ability were adding up, and Mahito knew using humans and killing them against Yuji would slowly break his psyche, and eventually, with Nobera in sight, he actually used her to really break Yuji mentally and shatter his resolve in the fight, enough to kill him before our next sorcerer comes into battle. When Aoi Todo came into the fight, to me, the tone completely changed, and once again, we had hope in the battle that the sorcerers would come out on top. We are the exception. Those are the words Todo shared with his brother, giving him an awesome speech after he saved Yuji from Mahito. Todo knew how broken Yuji was, and knew how his resolve was shaken and his will to fight faltered. So he told Mahito, as sorcerers, they have to keep fighting to honor those that they have lost, and not look for meaning or logic in the allies' death, but he needs to know what has he been entrusted with, as Todo risks his life fighting Mahito, knowing full well he can't even damage Mahito. Todo's ability Boogie Woogie 2 was very integral and a very key figure in this fight, and is definitely a huge reason why this battle was so intense, keeping all the fighters on their toes. Todo's speech and his words for Yuji give me goosebumps every single time when I read it, and it shows just how mature Todo is and how much he actually cares for Yuji and his growth as a sorcerer, because he knows there are going to be hardships as a shaman, as a sorcerer, and sorcerers have to handle these hard times head on, no matter who they lose along the way. And Yuji did make a comeback, and right off the rip performed Black Flash on Mahito, remembering Nanami's last words, and he would make sure to take on his own share of suffering. Now all three combatants are ready for battle. And finally we have the human curse Mahito, and at this point Mahito is thriving, absolutely thriving as a curse. From Mahito's previous encounters and fights, he has learned and evolved to extremely proficient levels using his curse technique Idol Transfiguration, as well as Soul Multiplicity to expand his own creativity as a fighter, and his versatility during the battle. He truly has evolved now that he has unlocked Domain Expansion, using it both in the Reverse Punishment arc as well as the Evening Festival arc against the Mechamaru Ultimate Puppet, even having a brief scuffle with Gojo before experiencing his domain of 0.2 seconds. Actually, during that fight and his previous encounters, Mahito would always use his power to test the limits and adapt to the situation at hand. So now, in this segment, Mahito can really just fully realize his ability and his potential as a curse. As we're going to see, he uses domains, black flashes, and soul multiplicity at a very high level in order to overcome the strength on the sorcerer's side. And that is especially shown in his rivalry with Yuji, and it is very clear Mahito wishes to break Yuji in every way imaginable. But with us getting to see what state our sorcerers are in, let's actually dive into what took place in this whole battle and the impact it left on the characters. The fight kicked off on a dark tone with us getting to see Mahito brutally murder Nanami in a gory mess right in front of Itadori, absolutely tilting Yuji out of control and messing with his mind in the battle. Mahito, though, he is relishing in the moment and uses transfigured souls to actually use the new technique Soul Multiplicity in a way to merge multiple souls together at once, creating a violent explosion of flesh and mass directed at Itadori with body repel, and uses this power to surprise Yuji and give him a nasty scar across his nose and face. And it's at this point Yuji calms down a bit, questioning why Mahito does what he does, playing with people's lives like this. But Mahito continues to troll Yuji, giving him a sarcastic answer, and makes a Junpei puppet, killing it in a playful manner, pissing off Itadori. And you could really see why Yuji and many other fans really just hate Mahito's guts, because Mahito is really that human curse, and he knows what makes Yuji tick and what Yuji values, and really just wants to mess with him in his mind, even saying it's just a curse spouting nonsense. So until Yuji accepts that he and Mahito are the same, he can never beat him. Yuji calms himself down, thinking back to Nanami's words, and knows Nanami would never actually lose his cool, and Yuji has to prove that to him as a sorcerer to face any evil. Mahito then focuses control on his cursed energy manipulation and his transfiguration, knowing that he cannot use his ability on Itadori or be careless when it comes to manipulating his soul, so he sticks to his human form and will use his limbs and cursed energy to reinforce his attacks, kind of like how Yuji uses his cursed energy, as Yuji makes his move and uses title martial arts skills performing Manji kick, and Mahito, dazed, almost strikes back with a slicing attack, but now the battle is more or less on equal footing and their second bout can begin. Mahito then switches his style in the fight, running through the station taking pot shots while using his range to keep Yuji at bay. Mahito is really testing the limits to see just what is the best way of killing Yuji would be, and he had to consider Yuji's martial arts skills and his physical strength, using transfigured humans to catch Yuji off guard, and it's very interesting to see just how much of a tactician Mahito can be, actually running away and using humans to surprise Yuji in a very, very messed up way, using them like fleshy tools against Itadori, and that is a very good way to mess with Yuji's mind and hurt his mental resolve. But we cut earlier to the arc where Mahito split into a clone to make a plan to kill Yuji, where the clone would actually find Nobera, and like I said earlier, this was a lower point in the battle, but Nobera really showed her determination in the fight, and I feel seeing Nanami and what an actual grade 1 sorcerer could do had a really big impact for her. And initially against Mahito, she couldn't do anything against him, which kind of let Mahito casually allow himself to get hit and taunt Nobera because she doesn't have anything special. However, she catches the double off guard with her aggressive rushdown style to rile up her cursed energy, and I feel the core of cursed energy, and using resonance to damage Mahito's soul, allowing Yuji on his side to get a chance to utterly beat down Mahito in a series of critical hits before both the double and the real body escape and run away to meet up. Both Mahitos lead Nobera and Yuji to the same place where the bodies switch, catching Kugisaki off guard in a direct hit from auto transfiguration. The other double is taken out, but it's too late as Nobera's body rejects the technique and her face pops from the transfiguration, and for all intents and purposes, she is now on her deathbed. All of these events, from losing to Chozo, letting Sukuna mass murder, Nami's death, and now Kugisaki Nobera's demise, absolutely shatter Itadori's will and his resolve already faded long ago. It is in this moment Mahito's instinct as a curse is riling up, and he is truly in his element, giving Yuji the beating of his life, taunting his values and his justice, even landing a black flash. Truly, Mahito is in the zone, and just as Yuji was growing, Mahito was growing as a curse to this degree. Mahito's philosophy is in full show as he beats down Yuji. He could be like this because that is his instinct as the human curse. There is no right or wrong. There is no justice. There are no heroes. Just as Yuji saves and helps others without a second thought, Mahito would kill and torture people without a moment's hesitation because he will act on instinct. And this is a battle, this is a war to see what outcome will be left. Yuji's so-called justice or the instinct of a curse, which will be left standing after 100 years. But just as Mahito was about to kill and finish off Yuji, our savior, our brother Todo, came into the battle to save Yuji, telling his brother to wake up. Our battle has just begun. Yuji, though, is ready to give up and to take the easy way out in a very messed up state where he regrets his actions and calls himself a murderer who has false conviction with a pathetic excuse for heroism, and Yuji just cannot forgive himself. I honestly believe Yuji at this point was very suicidal because of his circumstances, and he wanted nothing more than to die because of those he failed. Tell me what you guys think, but man, this is so dark, as this man Mahito does not give a care in the world, actually still trying to end Yuji in this pathetic state. But Todo won't let his brother die just yet, as he switches with Mahito. Todo has an awesome speech where he tells Yuji not to limit himself to such a narrow mindset, and to really live up to his title as a Jujutsu sorcerer, just like those that we lost. As long as they are alive and fighting, no one is truly defeated. Not to look for meaning or logic in death, or be guided by sins and punishment. As sorcerers, Yuji needs to know what has he been entrusted with. And wow, this is one of the moments that made Todo my favorite character in JJK, and is his very bold and mature outlook as a sorcerer is unbelievable, and his confidence and especially his trust in Yuji, I would say, is a huge part of his strength as a character, and his speech as well as his actions to protect Yuji from Mahito gave Yuji time to heal with Nita and get his resolve back in order as a sorcerer, letting Todo switch with Yuji, and the reborn Yuji immediately lands a crucial Black Flash on Mahito in an epic comeback. Now with all three fighters back in the battle and the fight, it's kicked in a high gear as there is no break in any opponent's mental fortitude, and is now a straight up fisticuffs balls to the walls battle. While not all the fighters are at 100%, Todo now being fresh puts Mahito at a disadvantage, expending more energy from previous clashes, saying his own soul now lingers around 40%. And now Todo adds more layers, switching with non-living targets being Mahito's compressed souls. And now Todo himself, not willing to let himself fall behind. He's not gonna let his brother Yuji feel alone again, performing his very own Black Flash. And I really appreciate how Gigi is portraying Todo in this fight and all three characters' relationships as opponents, because now all three have performed Black Flash and their potential as fighters have been brought out to 120%. You just do not really get to see that anywhere else. Because of Yuji and Todo's team up against Mahito, everyone's cursed energy control is on point, and this battle is now a serious tug of war, more or less on equal grounds, with everyone giving it their all. There is just no words to describe the awesomeness this chapter radiates. The battle now moves to street level as Mahito unleashes a destructive body repel attack, sending everyone upward, as this is their last chance to curse each other in the sorcerer battle. Todo, not wanting to be left out of the fun though, switches and tackles Mahito, letting Yuji attack, but Mahito adapts and dismembers his own head, leaving a powerful volatile double to deal with Yuji and Todo, while Mahito takes his time to use soul multiplicity to form polymorphic soul isomer, powerful transfigured soldiers with stable souls for fighting. These souls take Todo by surprise and send him flying with one hit across buildings, as he underestimated its power. Todo, still on his feet though, manages to use his power to rush one and kill it with one hit, so with all its power, it can't take hits, as two more show up to stall him. Mahito, now free for a bit from Boogie Woogie, piles on his attacks, focusing on Yuji in a violent rampage of body repel, forcing Yuji to get up in close, only to get thrown back. However, neutral is reset as Todo is back in action, making Mahito use one final decisive effort to gain some ground, using an all or nothing domain expansion of 0.2 seconds. He only experienced this feeling once from Gojo, but used that feeling and what he felt through Black Flash to create his space where he was quick enough to stay out of Sukuna's reach, while also letting the technique take effect. This led to Todo, although using simple domain to protect himself, to lose his left hand to the technique, forcing him to sever his own hand. But Mahito was not done yet, as he rushed Todo to weaken him with a hard-hitting Black Flash, and getting ready to end him with Transfiguration now with his technique back and Todo's nerfed. But you cannot expect our brother Todo to get taken out like that, as he uses Boogie Woogie one last time, slapping Mahito's hand and switching with Yuji to land yet another Black Flash on him right up in his grill. Mahito then distracts Yuji with a polymorphic soul, and through all this chaos, through all this carnage, he finds the true essence of his soul, transforming into the instant spirit body of distorted killing. This form, like the name implies, is a killing machine, and I feel the way it was designed and was inspired was really to deal with how superhuman Yuji is, and Mahito fully stacked his physical strength and his prowess to be stronger than Yuji now. And Yuji was caught lacking a bit, because in this final face-off, Mahito's ferocity as a true curse is on full display as he bombards and overwhelms Yuji in every clash. Now Itadori can't even block without being slashed and rattled by Mahito's hard and serrated body, even using his tail like some wild beast. But what a perfect form to match Yuji's speed and his combat ability. Even Yuji now is starting to sense Mahito's a problem now, as he gets his face slashed and his jaw exposed. He can't take control of the fight anymore. His attacks don't reach him, and as a cursed spirit, Mahito has become something completely different, utterly surpassing Yuji in every aspect in the fight. He now understands the only way to beat Mahito now and get past his hard shell would be to land a Black Flash with maximum input of cursed energy. The problem with that is that there is not a single sorcerer alive who could perform Black Flash at will. I like how both sides in this fight, both Yuji and Mahito share a moment where both of their bodies start to reverb and settle from all this fighting, because both have taken a lot of damage from the previous fights, especially Mahito, who expended so many moves and his cursed energy especially, but both still have some energy left in the tank as they make their move in an epic shot between both sides. Itadori is such an amazing fighter that his Black Flash attacks seem to be done at will, so Mahito is very wary of it and set a countermeasure in place to deal with Yuji's hit. He used his transformation to revert half his body back to bait in Yuji's attack while he got hit. Then with the exposed area, Mahito would then go in for the kill to finish Yuji off by slicing his neck. But right before he could land his hit, there was a second impact that made Mahito miss his chance. Yuji's Divergent Fist was back, but this time he was able to control the delay and catch Mahito off guard with his cursed energy control. With the battle at a standstill, our brother Todo comes back to bless us with his greatness, and he makes his presence known and uses his severed arm nub to clap, making Mahito think they switched places, when in reality, nothing has changed and Mahito just left himself wide open, letting Yuji come in there with a final, satisfying maximum input Black Flash, directly hitting Mahito's torso. I know this aspect of the series might be a little bit smaller compared to other things, but I was thinking, what if what Todo was doing was that revealing one's hand card or revealing one's hand trick or fake out, where true or false information about your power can lead to a different outcome in a battle. Either way, Mahito just got absolutely nixed badly and read like an open book, and this attack was the deciding move, and Mahito is now defeated with no more options left. He has no more energy to spare. It is at this moment where Yuji's time to tell Mahito what's up and his own conviction. Yuji accepts Mahito and understands that he and Mahito are one and the same, but he does not need to find any sort of meaning or reason for his actions because he will just keep killing curses. In the grand scheme of things, he is nothing more than a cog and will always kill curses. That is his role in all this. Now with nothing left, with nowhere to turn, after everything, Mahito, the same person who causes mayhem everywhere he goes, ending lives and just playing with countless people without a care in the world, runs away like a cornered animal. And just icing on the cake in this scene is how Gigi set the scene with Yuji as the predator and Mahito as the prey was an insane conclusion. Then yet another darker predator entering with Kenjaku, here to collect Mahito, and this is where the battle ends though, as Mahito is absorbed by Kenjaku. But this battle was absolutely astounding. It was really brilliant with all the themes, the dark tones that took place, as well as everyone involved with the characters. There is not a single moment where the tension drops, and all the fighters involved were really at each other's throats, cursing each other in an epic display of strength. I absolutely love the way Mahito can just step on lives, relishing in the moment and his own growth as a curse, forcing Yuji to mature as a sorcerer and find his own answer as to really what type of person he would be. Is he still going to be that kid trying to be the hero and give others their proper deaths? Or is he going to fulfill his role to trudge on as a shaman and be a cog, like he said, no matter what the obstacle? And of course, my favorite aspect of the battle was Todo's involvement and what he really brought to the table, being there for Yuji and giving him that second wind to keep on fighting, because the latter fight segment with Todo's speech, "We are the exception," and all three sorcerers going to battle on equal footing, after all of them being in the spur of the moment, landing Black Flash after Black Flash, was such an insane pace. And how would Yuji and Todo work together in the fight? The fight was always in this tug of war, and all three of them, Mahito, Todo and Yuji were always on their toes the entire time, adapting, adjusting, reinforcing their own bodies with cursed energy. Mahito pulling out all types of crazy moves with crazy versatility and changing the environment and the scenery. It was really, for me, it was one of the best fights I've ever read, not just in JJK but in shounen manga. And I felt like how I felt reading this, reading like Hunter x Hunter Kurolo versus Hisoka, if you remember that fight, and the hype I felt reading that, because if not even more, because it's new and fresh in my mind. Man, I really wish Higashi would come back with Hunter x Hunter. But I really enjoyed this fight, and it's just like peak fiction right here. But Gigi was really doing his thing in the Shibuya incident, and we for sure left this arc on a really high note with the versus Mahito battle and all the crazy moments with the characters lost along the way. It was just the themes and the characters' evolution. It was really peak shonen. But let me know how you guys feel about this fight, or what fight that you guys like more. I would really love to know. Anyways guys, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys' comments and your input a lot. And I almost forgot, I almost missed it. My besto friendzo, thank you so much for 100 plus subs. I honestly was not sure initially if any people at all would kind of enjoy my content, so I really appreciate all of you for following me, and I hope to reach more goals in the future. But please remember to like and subscribe for more content like this, and the next discussion video would be kind of a hot topic of a what if situation with Yuji versus a Megami fight, and that's going to be exciting. But moving on, my animations will likely take a bit more time to do, so it'll be higher quality, doing different scenes. But I got a couple in mind, working on a particular scene from the Shibuya incident and potentially a Chainsaw Man animation, so keep on the lookout for that. I don't know which one I'll do first, but keep on the lookout in the coming months. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much. This has been Enemy Stand User, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.